Hey everybody, it's Gypsy and welcome to On the Edge of Appalachia. So today I'm going to tell you another weird, spooky story from my life to celebrate Halloween. Because what is today? October 22nd, I think? Something like that. So anyways, this happened, I was middle-aged, probably late 30s. Now when this happened, this entity I saw, this being I saw, I didn't know it was a thing. I had never heard of it before, never heard anybody speak of it before. This was during a time of my life where I just really didn't have the time or the interest in being involved in other realms, dimensions, just trying to get by, single mother, etc. Anyways, so it's a very hot summer night, and I put my younger son to bed. My older son, who was a teenager, he had gone into his room. Well, he was always in his room, teenagers. Anyways, but we did have air conditioning, so all the windows were open. So I go out on the front stoop and I sit down to have a cigarette and just enjoy the weather and everything. And we had this huge, I think it was an oak tree on the front lawn. And the sun is, it's still light, but it's kind of like dusk, where you could still see, but just kind of had the different hues to it than what you have when the sun is, higher up in the sky. So it was like kind of just starting to get dark. So I'm sitting there enjoying the evening, just, trying to cool off outside. And as I'm sitting there, from around, like from behind the large tree, I see someone peeking out at me. Now, the picture that was the intro to this video was a painting I did of what I saw that night. Now, my experience was different than most people I have heard. But I don't know any of you if you've heard of the Shadow Man, the Hat Man, one of those two names they'll be called. Because people see him and he's always wearing like a trench coat and like a fedora. And he's also more of just a silhouette. There are no details. It's more like you're looking at a shadow, okay? But he's peeking out around me, sitting on the steps around the tree. And I knew right away it was not like a humanoid from this dimension. It was not really human. I just knew that. And so I'm looking at me and I said, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now because my son is in his bedroom and it's his window right there and it's open. And I don't want him to hear me talking to someone he himself cannot see. And he just kind of like that and then went back behind the tree and was gone. Now, here's what I have heard from other people. I do belong to like a certain group and stuff where I've heard other people mention this, which is how I found out this seeing the Shadow Man is very common for people who can see beyond this physical realm. And I had never known that. Now here's the difference. Other people's experiences were not good. Mine, I felt this entity was very nice and polite, And although he didn't say a word, the energy coming from him was a good energy. You know, it's kind of like just stop by to say hi. Oh, you can't talk. Okay, I understand. That kind of thing. And then he just left. I never ever saw him again. So I was in my late 30s. So I'm in my early 60s now. I've never seen him again. But he was very polite, very understanding. So what other people I've heard, they were afraid of this entity, did not get a good feeling from this entity. And worse yet, this entity had like the red, glowing, evil looking eyes. The one who appeared to me did not. Now, again, I'd never heard of anybody seeing this entity. Excuse me. I don't know where the trench coat and fedora came from. I painted this picture of what I saw before I knew anybody had ever seen it besides me. Before I heard it was called the Shadow Man or the Hat Man. Now I do know people see different variations where it's like a bigger brimmed hat or whatever. I don't know, but I never heard of this before. I never heard of this entity before. Now you would think, okay, because my grandpa was from the generation where men wore fedoras. Yeah, and no longer, like trench coats and stuff. Okay, so you would think, my first thought would be, oh, hi, Grandpa. But I knew it wasn't my grandpa. I know the way my grandfather feels. His presence. You know how certain people you could feel their energy. Like you don't have to see them walk into a room. You just know it's them by their feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but I had this with my dad. I didn't have to hear or see my dad walk in. I always knew when he did because, okay, now he's like right behind me because I'm saying it. Yeah, so it's like that. And I'm sure, many of you have had that experience. Well, I didn't get that, oh, this is my Grandpa Charlie, no. It did not know this entity at all. So yeah, it was weird, but it wasn't scary. I do have a couple scary ones. One I'm sharing, I will share with you for sure before Halloween. The other one I'm not so sure about yet. But anyways, as you can see, most of my experiences are not like horrifying, scary, gory stuff. So, yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I have weird stuff happen, but I don't like evil. I never have. For as woo-woo and weird as I am, I don't like horror. I hate it. I like to watch psychological thrillers that are not gory or horrifying, So anyways, it's just the way I am. I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, but not like that. Anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.